Hello, I'm Jenny Shaner, Realtor, Next Home Hub City. If you're a first-time home buyer or seller, or you've been around the block, because of my experience, I'm able to help you in the most efficient way. I'm a full-time, full-service realtor. I focus on my clients 100%. Let's work together as a team for a win in your next real estate transaction.
Are you tired of being a boring old tree, bird, or mythical war hero? Find the right job for you at Express Employment. Stop today and discuss positions that fit your abilities and qualifications, leading you to the perfect job. Always local, always strategically selected to match your skill set with local employers. There's a perfect job out there. Let Express Employment professionals help you find it. In Wausau, Stevens Point, Medford, and Marshfield. Find jobs and apply online at expresspros.com.
hard at him. He tried to short hop it, but tried a kind of an Olay move and did not put himself in front of the ball, and so Jankowski reaches the Tigers with 2 early errors in this ball game. The right fielder, Marshfield, now batting, hitting for the first time. Bugar working from the stretch. Marshfield shows bunt, bunts to third base side, picked up by Bugar. He'll play to first base, and just in time, Langhoff taking the toss on that play. Jankowski moves up to second base. 1-3 on that sacrifice route, number 1. The left fielder, Grant Yonke, now batting for Stevens Point, hitting for the first time. Batting left-handed. Slightly open stance. Bugar from the stretch, sets himself, checks the base runner, and now throws. Line to the left field line, foul for strike 1. We have no score here at Jack Hackman Field. Marshfield taking on Stevens Point today in Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball. Point has a base runner at second base and 1 out. 0-1 on Grant Yonke. Bugar sets himself, throws once again. A big swing and a miss. Count now 0-2. Sadelska, the Tiger shortstop, dancing behind the second base bag, trying to keep Jankowski close over there. 0-2 on Yonke. Bugar with a long look at his catcher, Mason Anderson, and Yonke, tired of waiting, steps out on him. First game this year at Jack Hackman Field, feels in good shape, so thanks to the city crews for getting this ballpark in solid baseball shape today. 0-2 on Grant Yonke. Bugar again sets himself, and now delivers. Misses low and outside for a ball. 1-2. We played a number of ball games at Safford Field this year. Certainly good to have that other facility available for local baseball. 1-2 on Grant Yonke, stands back in there. Bugar checks Jankowski at second base, and now delivers. High hopper left side and through the hole for a base hit. Jankowski to third base, he'll be stopped right there. Nice piece of hitting by Yonke, as Sadelska spending lots of his time out near second base trying to hold that runner close, and Yonke dribbled that ball right through that hole at shortstop. First hit for Stevens Point today, and SPASH has base runners at first and third with 1 out for the first baseman, Darren Grabsky. Coach Terpstra with some signs at third base. Grabsky batting right-handed. Bugar from the stretch. He'll check the base runners, and delivers. Ground ball third base side, and a fair ball in the left field corner. Jankowski scores. Yonke will stop at second base. The ball playing quickly with the left fielder, Brody Carl. RBI base hit for Darren Grabsky, and Stevens Point leads early 1-0. That is an unearned run since Jankowski reached base via an error. So Jankowski is in. Yonke stops at second base. Grabsky at first, and the batter is leadoff man Kason Sager, who opened the ball game by flying out to center field. Bugar still in a jam here. Pitching from the stretch. He delivers over for a called strike 1. So Stevens Point leads early 1-0. Point batting, top of the second. Runners at first and second, and only 1 out. 0-1 on Kason Sager. Bugar fires, misses low and outside for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Some other games today on ZaleskiSports.com. Baseball this afternoon now underway. Assumption at Stratford. The Mosley-Columbus game over at Safford Field on Zaleski Sports today. Bugar gets set and throws 1-1. Misses low and outside for a ball. 2-1. Rhinelander at Marathon. Also on ZaleskiSports.com today. Softball this afternoon. Spencer at Loyal Greenwood. Marshfield at DC Everest. Wausau West at Stevens Point. 2-1 on Sager. Here's the pitch. Low and outside and bounces away from Anderson. The runners advance. Wild pitch charge to Dayton Bugar. Runners move up. Yonke takes third base. Grabsky goes to second. And the count on Sager now 3-1. Also today on Zaleski Sports, Assumption and Amherst in girls soccer. That broadcast now underway as well. So 2 men in scoring position for Stevens Point. The count on Keeson Sager, 3 balls, 1 strike. Bugar pitching from the stretch. Throws a breaking ball up and in for ball 4 to load the bases. First walk issued by Bugar today. And SPASH has a threat here. Bases loaded, only 1 out. The second baseman, Keenan Weinfurter, batting. He reached base on an error his first time up. Infield stays back here, although Langhoff is in at first base. Bugar now working from the windup. Delivers, one outside, ball 1. A jam here for a Marshfield right-hander, Dayton Bugar. Bases loaded, only 1 out, 1 run already in. 1 ball, no strikes on Keaton Weinfurter. Time is called now as catcher Mason Anderson heads out to the mound to talk the situation over with Bugar. Marshfield does not have many veterans on this ball club, but Mason Anderson is one of them. And so good to have a veteran catcher out there who can sit down a young pitcher in a tough situation like this. Jacob Sadowski at shortstop, also a key veteran on this team, along with the right fielder Bryce Shoddy. 1-0 on Weinfurter. Bugar from the windup. Delivers, fly ball down the right field line, foul and out of play. Count now 1 ball, 1 strike. Bugar staying in the windup here. Gets set and delivers. Fastball just missed a bit high for a ball, 2-1. This inning began with an error. So as of right now, no runs are earned in this inning. The count 2-1. Here's the pitch. High fly ball on the right field line, going foul. Shoddy crossing the foul line, and he will not have a play. Ball falls foul in the right field corner. The count on Weinfurter now 2-2. Dayton Bugar trying to pitch out of it here. Bases jam with Stevens Point base runners. Bugar stays in the windup here. 2-2 on Weinfurter. Bugar with a long look at Anderson. Now into his motion. And delivers. Ground ball back up the middle. Off of Bugar's glove. Picked up by Sadowski. Steps in the bag for 1 on to first base for the double play. How about that? That ball glanced off of Bugar. Tipped out to the second base area. Picked up by Sadowski. He steps on the bag to force Sager for the first out. And then on to first baseman Dylan Langhoff to complete a 6-3 double play. Stevens Point in the second, 1 run. It is unearned on 2 hits, 1 error, 1 walk, 2 men left on base. After 1.5, our score now, Stevens Point 1 and Marshfield nothing. We'll return to Jack Hackman Field and more baseball in just a moment.
Learning Garden with 2 convenient central Wisconsin locations. Here's Brooke Sievers to tell us about it.
Little Sprouts has been around for almost 7 years here in Auburndale. In Rudolph, we've been open for about 2.5. We serve here in Auburndale. We have 6 weeks old up until 12-year-olds. And then in Rudolph, we have 1-year-olds up until 12-year-olds. The biggest thing that we do with them is we have play-based learning so that they learn through play with each other. And social skills are a huge part of what we do with them.
Find Little Sprouts Learning Garden on Facebook today.
listening to Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer, Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com, as well as ZaleskiSports.com. I'm Gene DeLisio at Jack Hackman Field in Marshfield. Marshfield facing Stevens Point today in Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball. Marshfield batting, 1 1/2 of the second. Leadoff man is catcher Mason Anderson, facing Point right-hander Gavin Thiel. And the first pitch way inside. Mason jumps away. It's ball 1. Point now leads 1-0. Marshfield batting, 1 1/2 of the second inning. Thiel working from the stretch. He is ready and now delivers. Popped up into center field. Sager moves in a few feet, gets there, makes the catch, route number 1. One man down in the Marshfield second inning. First baseman Dylan Langhoff now batting. Dylan steps in, batting left-handed. Theo stays in the stretch and throws over for a call, strike 1. High school baseball today on WOSQ, brought to us by Citizen State Bank of Loyal. 0-1 on Dylan Langhoff. Theo fires once again. Breaking ball, misses outside for ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. They are community owned and community minded, and welcome to a chance to serve you no matter what life brings. That's Citizen State Bank of Loyal. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way. High and outside for ball, 2-1. Marshfield and Stevens Point today. Beautiful day here in central Wisconsin. Many fans out here taking in the contest this afternoon. And now the 2-1 delivery. That's punched foul to the screen. 2-2. Langhoff, one of the many newcomers on this Tiger baseball team this year. Lost a lot of veterans from last year's ball club due to graduation, and some key men not back this year due to injury as well. So, very new roster this year in Marshfield. Here's the 2-2 delivery. A swing and a miss. Good fastball off the plate by Thiel, and Langhoff out on strikes. Thiel's first strikeout today. The right fielder Bryce Shoddy now stands in for Marshfield, batting left-handed as well. Tigers have a number of lefties on their roster and in today's batting order. Thiel again from the stretch. He throws line towards left center field. That will drop for a base hit and get in the gap. Cut off by the center fielder Sager. A wide turn by Shoddy on his way to second base, and he'll get there with a double. Bryce Shoddy doubles in the gap in left center field. Went the opposite way. Marshfield's first base runner today. And the left fielder Brody Carl now batting for the Tigers. Carl stands in, batting right-handed. Thiel working from the stretch. Readies and throws. A swing and a miss for strike 1. Marshfield batting, 1 1/2 of the second, trailing Stevens Point 1-0. Runner at second base and 2 outs. 0-1 on Brody Carl. Thiel ready. He'll fire once again. Ground ball towards second base. Weinford will charge, grab it, toss to first base in time to end the inning. In the second for Marshfield, no runs on 1 hit, no errors and 1 man left on base. Now after 2 innings, our score is Stevens Point 1, Marshfield 0. And back with more baseball in just a moment.
Simple, clear, helpful, and built around you. This isn't just a new building, it's a new experience for our members and for the Stevens Point community. Now it's easier than ever to stop in when it works for you. With 24/7 drive-through access, our services fit your schedule, not the other way around. Here at Simplicity, that's the kind of experience we believe in. You'll still see the same friendly faces, now in a space designed to serve you better and enhance the community we're proud to be a part of. We can't wait to welcome you in.
Wisconsin shops at Gross Auto Group for 3 big reasons. No hassle pricing, lifetime warranty, massive selection, price to move. Gross Auto Group's no hassle pricing means the price you see is the price you pay. No back and forth, no wasted time. Our lifetime engine warranty means we want your new ride running for as long as you own it. And with 8 brands in 6 stores, Gross Auto has the ride you want at the price you need. 3 reasons, 3 towns. Gross Auto Group in Neillsville, Black River Falls, and Marshfield.
Very pleasant day here in central Wisconsin for baseball action. We're watching a good game today. Marshfield and Stevens Point meeting here at Jack Hackman Field in Marshfield. Stevens Point batting, top of the 3rd. Leadoff man, shortstop Calvin Roth, hit by a pitch his first time up. 3-4-5 batters due up for Stevens Point here in the 3rd inning. Roth stands in against Dayton Bugar of Marshfield. And Bugar throws a swing and a miss for strike 1. Stevens Point leads it 1-0 as they bat top half of the 3rd inning. 0-1 on Calvin Roth. Bugar throws once again, a drive to center field. Wernberg in the gap in left center field, can't get there. Knocks it down, but Roth on the way to second base. There might be a play there, but he gets in there safely. Roth doubles to the gap in left center field. Points 3rd hit today. Brings up the pitcher Gavin Field, who flied to left his first time up. Field batting right-handed. Bugar working from the stretch. He now delivers on the outside corner for a call strike 1. 2 unbeaten teams meeting today, at least unbeaten in conference play, so first place on the line in this ball game this afternoon. 0-1 on Gavin Thiel. Bugar fires again, a big swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes. Thiel pitching, batting cleanup for Stevens Point today. Bugar remains in the stretch. Taking his time once again, now goes to the belt. And the 0-2 delivery. Ground ball 3rd base side and a fair ball in the left field corner. Roth running 3rd base, he'll come home with a run. Wide turn by Thiel, holds on with a base hit. RBI single for Gavin Thiel, and Stevens Point now leads 2-0.
Single by Thiel brings up Jonathan Trolka.
First earned run for Point today. Point batter now the DH Jonathan Trolka popped to second his first time up. Point pulling a lot of Bugar's pitches. A couple of balls hit right down that left field foul line. Trelka now stands in. Bugar working from the stretch. As Thiel leads at first base, held there by Langhoff. Bugar set. He throws, misses high for ball 1. Stevens Point now on top, 2-0. SPASH batting top of the 3rd. Runner at first base. And nobody out. 1 ball, no strikes on Jonathan Trelka. Pitch on the way, line towards right center field. That's in the gap, and they'll drop for a base hit. Thiel had to hold up to make sure that ball was not caught, so he stops at second base. Trelka drops a base hit to right field. And now 3 consecutive hits by Stevens Point to open the 3rd inning. Batter's third baseman Brendan Jankowski reached base on an error and scored his first time up. Jankowski batting left-handed. Bugar sets and throws, high drive to left center field. Carl goes back, this ball over his head to deep left field. Field will score. Trelka running third base. They'll be held right there. A double for Brendan Jankowski. Point scores again, and Stevens Point now leads 3-0. So Point has opened this third inning
Number 6, Braden Marshfield.
with 4 consecutive hits. Now 2 more men in scoring position for the right fielder Braden Marshke, who sacrificed his first time up. Now 6 hits for Stevens Point in this ball game. 2 runs earned, 3 runs for the ball game. Marshke stands in. Bugar steps off. Marshke now back in there. And the pitch by Bugar. A swing and a miss for strike 1. Stevens Point now leads at 3-0 as they bat top of the third. Runners at second and third, still nobody out. 0-1 on Braden Marshke. Bugar sets once again. And throws a curveball down ball third base side, knocked down with the short third baseman Zaleski. Has to play the first base in time for the out. Zaleski, I think, wanted to come home on a play on Trelka, but couldn't get the ball in his glove. So he had no play there. So took the other first base instead. Marshke retired for out number 1. He does get an RBI in the play. Trelka scores, making it 4-0. And Jankowski advances to third base. Left fielder Grant Yonke now batting for Stevens Point. Singled his first time up, he's 1 for 1. Hitting left-handed. Bugar stays in the stretch here and throws down low for ball 1. Stevens Point 4, Marshfield nothing. Point batting top of the third. 1 out, base runner at third base. Bugar stays in the stretch and fires. Pop foul to the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joining Larry Hazer and Dick Olson for their take on sports. 2 guys on sports every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and WOSQFM.com. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. And here's a squeeze play. Up on the third base side, a ball gets foul. Yonke squared to bunt, and Jankowski took off, but the ball rolls foul to the third base side. The count on Yonke now 1-2. Yonke digs in once again. And Bugar again going from the stretch. Sets himself and delivers. Line on the left field line, foul. Hit hard, but foul. Still 1-2 on Grant Yonke. Marshfield, Stevens Point today. Baseball from Jack Hackman Field in Marshfield. On a beautiful day for baseball this afternoon. Once again, the 1-2 delivery. A swing and a miss. Nice breaking ball by Dave Bugar. His first strikeout. And that is the second out. Here's the SPASH first baseman Darren Grabsky. RBI base hit his first time up. He's 1 for 1. Grabsky batting right-handed. He digs in. Bugar ready and now delivers. Got the inside corner for a call, strike 1. Stevens Point now leads at 4-0 as they bat top of the third. Runner at third base and 2 outs. Now the 0-1 delivery. Big curveball rides high for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 hits for the Stevens Point ball club here in this third inning. Grabsky gets back in there. Bugar again from the stretch. Sets and throws. And got the outside corner for a call strike. The count now 1-2. Each team unbeaten in conference play this year, so first place in the conference on the line in this ball game today. 1-2 on Grabsky. And Bugar throws once again. Misses low and outside for a ball. Ball gets away from Anderson, but not very far. Tracks down quickly. 2-2 now on Darren Grabsky. SPASH looking for a big two-out base hit right here. Bugar back on the rubber. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Grabsky steps out. Bugar taking his time between pitches with men on base. We don't have a pitch clock here in high school ball, so he can take as long as he wants. Set once again. Here's the 2-2 pitch. High hopper on the third base side, and off of Zaleski's glove. Grabsky reaches, Jankowski aboard. Jankowski scores, and Stevens Point leads 5-0. That was a tough play for Zaleski. Had to charge on a short hop. I would be inclined to give Grabsky a base hit on that play. Not an easy play to make for a high school third baseman. So another run is in. SPASH now leads 5-0, and leadoff man Kason Sager batting. Here's the pitch by Bugar. He lines one to the left field line. That's going to be a foul ball just outside the line, foul in the left field corner for strike 1. Stevens Point now on top 5-0. SPASH batting top of the third. Grabsky at first base and 2 outs. 4 runs for SPASH here in the third inning. That last play, tough to call. High hopper down the third base line. Zaleski charged, attempted a short hop, and couldn't gather it in. Here's a curveball, swing and a miss. 0-2 on Sager. Grabsky at first base, short lead there, held by Langhoff. Now the 0-2 delivery. Ground ball towards short. Sadowski will grab it. Throws to first base in time to end the inning. In the third for Stevens Point, 4 runs on 5 hits.
From the top of the third, 4 runs on 4 hits, no error.
No errors, and 1 man left on base. We played 2.5 innings, and our score is Stevens Point 5, Marshfield 0. More baseball coming up in just a moment.
John Will.
Folks, Matt LePay here. Ridgetop Exteriors is kicking off your roof replacement like pros. Old shingles off, decking down, ice and water guard set. Textbook protection. Underlayment follows. Sealed tight like an O-line. Valleys flashed. Shingles installed row by row. Captain ventilated. The crew scoops every nail, leaving no yard marker behind. This project's wrapped. Your turn to call the play at ridgetopexteriors.com.
Is your business, church, or organization getting a fair deal on your copier contracts? Do you even know how much you're spending? Bauernfeind Business Technologies has been in the office technology industry for 70 years. We have an award-winning service department, and customers love our fair and flexible service contracts. If you're currently a customer, thank you. If you currently work with one of our competitors, let's talk. We can tell you if you're overpaying or getting a good deal. BBT, we want to be the easiest vendor you work with. b-bt.com.
We understand that Zaleski has been given an error on that high hopper last inning. The Tigers' third error of the ball game. Marshfield now batting last half of the third. And DH Tyler Cum stands in against Gavin Thiel of Stevens Point. Thiel from the stretch. He throws high and away for ball 1. Stevens Point on top 5-0. Marshfield batting bottom half of the third here at Jack Hackman Field. 1 ball, no strikes on Tyler Cum. Thiel throws again, high fly ball, left field line, going foul, and no play for the left fielder. Yonke falls into the Tiger bullpen. Count now 1 ball, 1 strike. That was a tough play for Zaleski at third base on that short hop. That high hopper, but the official scores have ruled that was an error, not an infield hit. So we'll give way to their judgment. 1-1 curveball, base outside for a ball, 2-1. That came out of Thiel's hands awkwardly that time, that last pitch. Cum stands back in, 2 balls, 1 strike. Thiel throws once again, high inside, ball 3. Thiel only has thrown 20 pitches through 2 innings, so his pitch count rather minimal. Count is 3-1. Next pitch on the way. Hit high in the air to left field. Yankee drifts back in the left field corner. Gets there and grabs it for the out. Tyler coming the opposite way. That ball tracked down by Grant Yankees, route number 1.
John Will.
Tigers second baseman John Will now stands in, batting for the first time today. Will digs in, and field throws here on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Well, Lawrence University in Appleton has a new athletic director. Former Vikings football standout Dan Galante back on campus as the AD. This pitch up and in for a ball. 1 strike on John Will. Galante was a defensive lineman at Lawrence back in the 80s, I believe. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Over for call strike, 1-2. There's only 2 players in Lawrence football history to receive all conference honors 4 times. Also a 4-time Division III All-American. Ball and 2 strikes on John Will. Field throws a curveball lined on the right field line, curving and falling in the fair ground in the right field corner. And John Will singles to right field to give Marshfield a one-out base runner. Leadoff man Jacob Sadowska now batting. Jacob bounced to short his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Galante was a grad assistant at Northwestern University. Worked on the football staff at North Park College in Chicago, and for 16 years was the head coach at St. Patrick High School in Chicago. Sadowska digs in. Will leads at first base. Field throws, punch foul to the screen for strike 1. Stevens Point leads at 5-0. Marshfield batting, bottom half of the third. 1 out, 1 on. 0-1 on Jacob Sadowska. Field ready. And throws once again. A swing and a miss, 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes on Jacob Sadowska. Gavin Field checking the base runner, turns, goes to first base, and we're back in time. Lawrence football program has struggled for many years. They were 0-9 last season after under coach Adam Gonzaga, who's leaving after just 1 year at Lawrence. 0-2 delivery, outside for a ball, 1-2. The Lawrence football program has not this season over 500 since they went 6-3 in 1987. So a very long drought from Lawrence football program. 1-2 on Sadowska, again to first base. And Will dives back in safely. So we'll see if Mr. Galante can turn things around at Lawrence and improve that football program. 1-2 pitch, going outside, bounds away from the catcher, and Will takes off. He'll make it to second base. Ball just off the plate, and Shakuri could not handle it. The count on Sadowska now 2-2. The Tiger teammate in scoring position. Theo wants a new sign, now gets that from Shakuri. Sets himself and delivers once again. Ground ball third base and grabbed by the third baseman Jankowski. Throws across the diamond off line, and at that point Will takes off and he'll take third base. That ball hit behind the third base bag, and Jankowski was able to grab it. The first baseman Grabski came way off the bag to snare it, and after that throw was made, Will takes third base. So infield hit for Jacob Sadowska. Runners at first and third, only 1 out. Dayton Bogar, the Tiger pitcher, now batting. Dayton lined to second base his first time up. GM here for Stevens Point pitcher Gavin Field. Checks the base runners and throws. Line fell on the first base side for strike 1. So Marshfield down by 5. Now a chance to get back in the ball game here. No balls, one strike on Dayton Bugar. Batting right-handed, has a very open stance. Pitch on the way, that's outside corner for a called strike 2. 0-2. Sadowska kind of bluffed his start over there at first base, but his ball club down by 5. He would be eager to steal here. 0-2 on Dayton Bugar. Field sets once again. Pitch on the way, dribble toward third base, picked up by Jankowski. Goes to first base in time for the out. Back to second base, and Sadowska safe there, but a run scores, and Marshfield now trails 5-1. Bugar drives in the run with that ground out to third base. That's the second out. Will scores on the play. And Sadowski to second base. Third baseman Jackson Zaleski now batting. He flied to right his first time up, 0-1. Field again from the stretch. And now delivers. Breaking ball, nice one over for a called strike 1. Our score now, Stevens Point 5, Marshfield 1. Marshfield batting bottom half of the third. Sadowski at third base with 2 outs. No balls, 1 strike on Jackson Zaleski. Field ready. Fires once again. A big curveball breaks inside for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fans enjoying themselves at the ballpark today. Good day to be out and watching baseball this afternoon. Count 1 ball, 1 strike. Zaleski stands in there once again. And Field delivers. Over for call strike 2. Down goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sadowski at second base. He runs well, gets a good lead down there. 1-2 pitch on the way. Dribble back up the middle. The shortstop Roth will grab it near the bag, toss to first base in time to end the inning. In the third for Marshfield, 1 run on 2 hits. No errors, 1 man left on base. Now after 3 innings, our score is Stevens Point 5 and Marshfield 1. Back with more baseball following these messages.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
The quality materials that was used when the house was built were below builder grade. I wanted to do something a little exciting, add a little bit of color, a little bit of texture. The Infinity team took time to get to know us. He wanted to know what we wanted. Once he saw my design, he says, well, let's make this happen. It's a big project. Just changed the whole look of the house, and it looks like a brand new home. The Infinity team treated us like we were their family. I would recommend Infinity to anybody.
Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball today on WOSQ and ZaleskiSports.com as Marshfield and Stevens Point heading to the 4th inning. Point leads by 4. Leading off the Stevens Point 4th inning, second baseman Keaton Wainfurter has reached an error and bouncing with double play. He's 0 for 2. Dayton Bugar has thrown 53 pitches in 3 innings today. Bugar working from the windup. Now backs off the rubber. 2, 3, 4 batters for Stevens Point here in the 4th inning. Bugar now ready, winds and delivers. High for ball 1. Stevens Point leads it 5-1. SPASH batting top half of the 4th inning. Bugar throws once again, high fly ball to right field. Bryce Shoddy in the gap in right center gets there and grabs it for the out. One quick out in the Stevens Point fourth.
Fly-up brings up shortstop number 11, Calvin Law.
Shortstop Calvin Roth now running for Stevens Point. He's been hit by a pitch and doubled and scored today. 1 for 1 on the day. Boogar throws, high fly ball to left field. Brody Carl moves in, coming in quickly now, and can't get there. Ball falls just in front of him for a bloop single. Carl got a late jump on that ball, so it falls in front of him for a base hit. 8th hit for Stevens Point. No, 7th hit for Stevens Point today. One out base runner. And the pitcher, Gavin Thiel, now batting. Thiel has fly to left, single home run and score. He's 1 for 2. Boogar sets himself here and throws high and outside for ball 1. It's Stevens Point 5, Marshfield 1. Point batting, top half of the 4th. 1 out, 1 on. 1 ball, no strikes on cleanup man Gavin Thiel. Next pitch drops down low for ball, 2-0. High school softball around central Wisconsin today. Marshfield Tigers playing at D.C. Everest. Wisconsin Rapids at Wausau East. Wausau West at Stevens Point. Spencer at Laurel Greenwood today in high school softball. Throw to first base and Roth dives back in. Colby Abbotsford at Neillsville Granton today. The broadcast of that game now underway on 92.7 FM WPKG. 2-0 on Gavin Thiel. And the pitch by Boogar just missed down low for ball 3, 3-0. Also in softball today, Gilman at Owen Withey, Thorpe at Oak Mound, McDonald at Stanley Boyd, Cadott at Bloomer. Boogar ready, and no throws 3-0, one inside ball 4. Second walk issued by Dayton Boogar pushes Calvin Roth to second base. And brings up DH Jonathan Troca. And Troca has popped to second and singled and scored today. He's 1 for 2. Troca digs in. Boogar from the stretch. Throws a big swing and a miss for strike 1. Also in softball today, Edgar at Auburndale. Assumption plays at Stratford. Newman at Marathon. Phillips at Rib Lake. Rhinelander at Moseley. Anselers at Medford. Merrill at Tomahawk and Northland Pines at Lakeland in high school softball action today. No balls, 1 strike on Jonathan Troca. Digs in once again. Boogar working from the stretch. And now throws a curveball up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Three of Stevens Point's runs today are earned, 2 are unearned so far today. Tigers have 3 errors so far this afternoon. Here's a fastball inside for a ball, 2-1. Coach Terpstra with some signs at third base. Troca stands back in there. Boogar stays in the stretch and fires a drive to center field. Wernberg goes back in deep center field, gets there and grabs it. Roth will tag and moves to third base on the play. Troca with a long fly ball to center field, tracked down by Jackson Wernberg, route number 2. Roth takes third base and Thiel holds it first.
Now batting the third baseman, number 25, Braden Jankowski.
The SPASH batter, Braden Jankowski, the third baseman, has reached base in an error and doubled home run today. 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored. Jankowski hitting left-handed. We'll see if Thiel's on the move here at first base. Pitch by Boogar, inside for ball 1. Stevens Point 5, Marshfield 1, SPASH batting, top of the 4th. Runners at first and third, and 2 outs. 1 ball, no strikes on Braden Jankowski. Stands in there once again. Here's the pitch, ground ball first base, but just outside the bag, foul. The count now 1-1. SPASH up by 4, but looking for some extra runs here in the 4th inning. Janikowski digs in once again. Bugar checks the base runners. Pitch on the way, rides high for a ball, 2-1. Bugar with 53 pitches through the first 3 innings, probably approaching 70 at this point. So his pitch count getting up there. 2 balls, 1 strike the count. Toss to first base, and Thiel dives back in safely. Janikowski now back in the batter's box. Bugar from the stretch. Again to first base. And Thiel back safely. Bugar showing some concern with that base runner at first base here. Count on Janikowski, 2 balls, 1 strike. He stands back in there. Again to first base. And Thiel back in time. Bugar apparently concerned that Thiel might take off here. 2-1 pitch, runner is going. Ground ball first base side and right by Langhoff down the right field foul line. Roth will score. Thiel to third base. RBI single for Braden Jankowski. And Stevens Point now leads at 6-1. Ross scores on the play. And Thiel moves around to third. The right fielder, Braden Marshke, now batting. He is sacrificed and bounced out. 0 for 1. He does have an RBI today. Bugar stays in the stretch here. Sets and throws. High for ball 1. So Stevens Point now leads 6-1 as they bat top of the 4th. Runners at first and third and 2 outs. 1 ball, no strikes on Braden Marshke. Bugar sets himself and throws a drive in the gap in right center field. That's trouble and falls for a base hit. Thiel is in. Jankowski to third base. Rounding third, he'll try to score. There's the relay throw. It's up the line. A 2-run double for Braden Marshke. And Stevens Point now leads 8-1. Marshke lines one to the gap in right center field. 2 more runs are in.
Now back to SPASH number 7, Grant Yankee.
So Stevens Point with 4 in the third, now 3 in the 4th. And left fielder Grant Yankee stands in. He is struck out and singled, 1 for 2. The pitch by Bugar, outside ball 1. It's now Stevens Point 8, Marshfield 1. Point batting, top of the 4th. Marshke is at second base with 2 outs. Now the 1-0 delivery on the way. Ground ball back up the middle. The second baseman will nair it. Throw to first base in time to end the inning. Stevens Point in the 4th. 3 runs on 3 hits. No errors, a walk, 1 man left on base. Now through 3.5 innings, our score is Stevens Point 8, Marshfield 1. Back with more baseball following these messages.
So, after a couple years of this, it's time for more money and better opportunities. That's where Mid-State Technical College comes in.
Are you a born leader? Is hospitality your thing? Maybe you're into efficiency. Or do you love building teams? No matter your path, we've got cutting-edge classes with field-trained professionals and better tuition options. So stop getting by and level up today.
Hey, you're tuned in to Better Halves.
Skip, I love my hometown, and I want a health plan that feels the same way. So what are your favorite local date spots?
Oh, yeah, I know like all the date spots in Eclair.
Jane, I'm Steve from security. I've lived here in Wisconsin my whole life, and that means I understand your health coverage needs better.
By the way, Doug, it's Eau Claire. I have a dozen Eclairs in my dressing room.
Marshfield and Stevens Point baseball today here at Jack Kaplan Field. Marshfield batting bottom half of the fourth. 4 or 5, 6 men do up against Stevens Point right-hander Gavin Thiel. Catcher Mason Anderson is flying to center today. He's 0 for 1. Thiel working from the stretch. Delivers lined on the left field line. It's a fair ball to the left field corner. They turn to first base for Mason, but he'll hold right there. Mason Anderson singles to left field to open the Tiger fourth inning.
Single brings up the first baseman, number 10, Dylan Langhoff.
You are listening to Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer Marshfield, and ZaleskiSports.com. I'm Gene DeLisio at Jack Kaplan Field in Marshfield. First baseman Dylan Langhoff now batting for the Tigers. Pop foul on the third base side, going foul and a play for strike one. Marshfield batting bottom half of the fourth. Stevens Point leads it by a score of 8-1. No balls, one strike on Dylan Langhoff. Mason Anderson at first base, held there by Darren Grabsky. Langhoff stands ready. Here's the pitch. Ground ball third base side and through the hole for a base hit. Langhoff goes the opposite way and singles to left field. And Marshfield has 2 men on base with nobody out here in the fourth inning.
Brings up number 9, Bryce Shoddy.
Bryce Shoddy batting for Marshfield. Bryce doubled his first time up. He's 1 for 1 today. Thiel working from the stretch. And he now fires outside, ball 1. Stevens Point on top, 8-1. Marshfield batting. Bottom half of the fourth. Runners at first and second and nobody out. One 0 pitch on the way. Pop foul over the screen on the play. 1-1. Tigers now have 5 hits today. Looking to bunch a few together to get back in this ball game. One ball, one strike on Bryce Shoddy. Thiel ready, he spins, goes to second base, and Anderson dives back in time. Close play over there. Shortstop Calvin Ross taking the throw. Still 1 ball, 1 strike on Bryce Shoddy. Thiel sets himself and delivers. Pump foul to the third base side of the play. 1-2 on Shoddy, batting number 6 in the Tiger batting order today. Bryce back in there. Thiel gets his sign, now sets himself and fires. Pop foul again on the third base side of the play. Still 1-2 on Bryce Shoddy. Playing field still in bright daylight, but the shadows creeping in on the foul ground on the first base side. 1-2 delivery. Swung on and missed. Good off-speed pitch on the outside part of the plate. And Shoddy out on strikes. Second strikeout for Gavin Thiel today. That's 1 down. And left fielder Brody Carl standing in. Brody bounced to second his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Thiel sets himself here. Spins and bluffs Anderson back to second base. Marshfield with the threat here in the fourth inning. 2 out, 2 on, only 1 out. This pitch fell back for strike 1. Well, on this date back in 1910, League Park in Cleveland opened for the, at that time, Cleveland Naps. to become later the Cleveland Indians, then of course now the Cleveland Guardians. 0-1 on Brody Carl. Pitched by Theo, breaks high and tight for a ball, 1-1. The park's at 21,000, and over 18,000 watched the Tigers beat the Naps that day 5-0 in the first ball game at Cleveland's League Park. 1 ball, 1 strike on Brody Carl. Theo from the stretch. Sets and throws. Nice breaking ball in there for a call strike. 1-2. League Park has not been used for baseball since 1947. However, parts of that stadium still stand. You can go into Cleveland and see parts of League Park. Here's the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball inside for ball, 2-2. There is that's the team's office building and ticket booth. That's in the right field corner. That building still exists. As well as part of the outfield wall around the ballpark. 2-2 delivery. Ground ball towards shortstop. Roth will scoop it up. Only play the first base in time for the out. Not hit very hard. And so Roth had no chance of the base runners, but he does retire Curl for out number 2. On that ground out, Anderson takes third base, and Langhoff moves to second. The DH Tyler Cum now batting, and Tyler flied to left his first time up. Cum batting left-handed. Theo from the stretch. Throws high and outside, ball 1. Stevens point 8, Marshfield 1. Marshfield batting, bottom half of the 4th. Runners at second and third, and 2 outs. 1 ball, no strike on Tyler Cum. Theo throws once again, high and outside for ball, 2-0. League Park was known for a very short right field fence. Timeout called now, as the Stevens Point pitching coach comes out to talk with Gavin Thiel and his infielders. League Park had a right field fence of about 290 and a big, I think, 40-foot high wall out there to make it more difficult for left-handed batters. It was used by that Cleveland Ball Club for many years. And even after the new stadium was built, the big stadium that housed the Browns and Indians for many years, the municipal stadium, the Indians still played at League Park because the municipal stadium was so big, they couldn't draw fans there, so they stayed at League Park for like day games during the week and played night games and weekend games at municipal stadium. 2-0 on Tyler Cum. He stands back in there as the conference breaks up. Theo gets ready and throws here. Missed outside for ball 3. 3-0. Tigers have 2 men in scoring position here with 2 outs in the 4th, looking for a big 2-out hit from Tyler Cum. Count 3-0. And Theo fires here on the outside corner for call strike. 3-1. Tigers down by 7, looking for some base runners here. Thiel again from the stretch. Now delivers, ground ball towards second base. Grabbed by Weinfurter, goes to first base in time to end the inning. So the Tigers put 2 men on base but can't score here in the 4th. Marshfield gets no runs on 2 hits, no errors, 2 men left on base. After 4 innings, our score is Stevens Point 8, Marshfield 1. Back with more baseball in just a moment.
Rigel Plumbing and Heating in Marshfield, your local Amana dealer. Call Rigel Plumbing and Heating today to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter ahead. For expertise, honesty, and stellar service, look no further than Heritage Auto Body. Heritage Auto Body has free estimates and works with your insurance. Heritage Auto Body on Heritage Drive in Marshfield.
Cobeson Bus is hiring. It's drivers that they need. Cobeson Bus is hiring. It's the perfect job for me.
Cobeson Buses would like to thank all of our school bus drivers throughout the state of Wisconsin for their safe driving. If you would like to make a difference in your community with a fun and rewarding part-time job, apply at Cobeson.com.
Cobeson Bus is hiring. It's the perfect job for me.
Marshfield Tigers changing pitchers. Mason Polga comes in to pitch for the Tigers. Mason Polga, a right-hander, is a new pitcher. Dayton Lugar throws 4 innings. Gave up 8 runs. 6 earned on 9 hits. Walked 2, struck out 1, threw 1 wild pitch and hit 1. Right-hander Mason Polga, the new Tiger pitcher.
We have pitching change for Marshfield, now on the mound, Mason Polga.
Tigers down by 7 as Polga comes in to pitch for Marshfield. He won a ball game for the Tigers last week. There's a young man on the young ball player on this Tiger roster. Leadoff man for Stevens Point in the 5th. First baseman Darren Grabsky. He is single and reached base in an error. 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Number 9 man in Coach Terpster's batting order today. Grabsky digs in. Polga working from the stretch. And he delivers. Fastball off the plate for ball 1. Stevens Point has the lead, 8-1. As they bat top half of the 5th inning here at Jack Hackman Field. Now the 1-0 delivery on the way. That breaks the one outside for ball 2-0. 9-1 and 2 batters due up for Stevens Point here in the 5th inning. Polga sets, throws once again, high and tight ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes to count. Now Polga ready, and throws, in there for a call and strike. Count 3-1. Still lots of sunshine here at Jack Hackman Field. Beautiful day for baseball. Fans enjoying themselves at the ballpark today. Count 3 balls, 1 strike, and Polga throws outside for ball 4. So Point has a leadoff base runner here in the 5th inning. And center fielder Keeson Sager now batting, and Sager has flied to center, walked, bounced to short, 0 for 2. Point with a 1 in the 2nd inning, 4 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th. Grabsky held there by Langhoff at first base, as Sager stands in. Polga gets set and throws across for a call and strike 1. Each team unbeaten in conference play this year. So an early season matchup between 2 teams vying for first place. 0-1 on Sager. Polga throws once again, a high drive to left field. Brody Carl moving back quickly. Ball might be over his head. It is. Goes to the warning track. Grabsky to third base. He'll be held right there. A double to deep left field for Keeson Sager. And SPASH has base runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. Well, now the pinch hitter for the second baseman, Weinfurter. Joe Shizik.
For SPASH, number 19, Joe Shizik.
Joe Shizik batting for Stevens Point. Hitting right-handed. Infield comes in from Marshfield. Polga gets set and throws. Popped up on the left side. The shortstop, Sadowska, near third base, drops the ball, and all hands are safe. And Chiswick will reach. Sadowska drops the ball, and that will load the bases. Tigers' fourth error in this ball game. So the base is now loaded for Calvin Roth. Jacob looking back towards the west, so they have had some sun issues with that pop-up. It was hit very high as well. Bases loaded, nobody out. As Calvin Roth stands in, he's been hit by a pitch, singled and doubled today. 2 for 2, a 2-run scored. Tiger infield comes in. Polga working from the stretch. Sets and delivers. A base for the for strike one. Dangerous spot here for Tiger pitcher Mason Polga. Bases loaded and nobody out. His team down by 7. Polga throws a curveball that brings across for a called strike 2. Gets ahead of Roth, nothing in 2. Mason Polga and the young ball players on this Marshfield varsity roster this year. Sets himself. 0-2 pitch underway. A drive to left field. Carl goes back in deep left field. Reaches up and the ball's over his head and against the fence. Krapsky will score. Sager will score as well. And Chiswick holds at third base. 2-run double for Calvin Roth. 2 more runs are in, and Stevens Point now leads 10-1. Long drive to left field by Roth. Scores Grabsky and Sager. And Chiswick goes to third. Stevens Point batter now, the pitcher Kevin Field, but he'll be called back as well. And Eli Horter will bat in his place. Eli Horter batting for Stevens Point. Place of pitcher Gavin Thiel. Fouls one back for strike 1. Stevens Point now leads 10-1 as they bat top of the 5th. Runners at second and third and still nobody out. No balls, 1 strike on Eli Horter. The pitch by Polga. Ground ball towards second base. Grabbed by Will. He'll come home for the play there, and the base runner is out. Chiswick out trying to score on that ball. Hit right at the second baseman, John Will. So that's out number 1. On that play, Roth goes to third base. And Horter at first base on the fielder's choice. 1 man down, and another pinch hitter for Stevens Point. There's Noah Shakurit, the catcher, who will bat for himself. Shakurit has been DH'd for by Jonathan Trolka, but now Shakurit bats for himself, hitting left-handed. Pitch from Polga, low and outside, ball 1. Shakurit back in there. Infield stays in. Pitch on the way, a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Coming up on Thursday on ZaleskiSports.com, Wisconsin Rapids at Stevens Point in baseball action. That broadcast Thursday, 5 p.m. 1-1 pitch on the outside corner, a call strike, 1-2. And high school softball on Thursday, Stratford at Assumption. DC Everest at Wisconsin Rapids. Stevens Point at Marshfield. Nielsen at Columbus. Royal Greenwood at Colby Abbey. All softball on ZaleskiSports.com. This pitch inside for ball, 2-1 on Shakurit. So lots of Central Wisconsin baseball and softball on Thursday on ZaleskiSports.com. 2 balls, 1 strike on Noah Shakurit. Stands back in there. Polga from the stretch. Throws again, a swing and a miss. And that is strike 3. Polga out on strikes. First strikeout for Polga today. Third baseman Brendan Jankowski batting. He has singled and doubled, has 2 RBIs. He scored 3 times. Also reached base on an error. Polga checks the base runners and throws outside, ball 1. Stevens Point now leads 10-1 as they bat top of the 5th with runners at first and third and 2 out. 1 ball, no strikes on Brendan Jankowski. Polka gets set and delivers. High fly ball, foul territory on the third base side of the play. County was at 1 ball, 1 strike. Stevens Point did not score in the first inning, but then 1 in the second, 4 in the third, 3 in the fourth, and so far 2 in the 5th. Mason Anderson directing his outfielders to move around towards left field here. Here's the 1-1 delivery, going inside for a ball, 2-1. Mason Polga on the relief of Dayton Buglar on the mound for Marshfield today. 2-1 delivery, inside for ball 3. You're listening to Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball on Sports Radio 82.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com, as well as ZaleskiSports.com. 3-1 pitch rides outside for ball 4 to load the bases. Jankowski walks, that sends Corder to second base. Roth holds it at third. And the batter for Stevens Point is the right fielder, Braden Marshke. He has sacrificed, bounced to third, and doubled. 1 for 2 with 3 RBIs today. Polka throws across the letters for a called strike 1. Stevens Point leads by 9 as they bat here in the 5th inning. Polka throws again, over for a called strike, and the count now 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes on Braden Marshke. Stands back in there. Runners take their leads. Pitched by Polka. Curveball dribbled on the third base side. Tough chance. Picked up by the catcher, Anderson, but he has no play. All hands are safe on that infield hit. And Stevens Point now leads 11-1. A little dribbler right down that third base foul line. Ross scores on the play. Herder takes third base. Jankowski moves to second. Marshke at first. Another pinch hitter coming up for Stevens Point. Braden Drossel will bat for Grant Yonke. Polka throws here with 1 outside for ball 1. So at Stevens Point 11, Marshfield 1. Here's a pitch high and tight, ball 2, 2-0. Dossel is the 9th man to bat for Stevens Point here in the 5th inning. Two or nothing on Dossel. Bases remain loaded. And Polga throws again. Up and in for ball 3. 3-0. Stevens Point now leads by 10 as they bat here in the 5th inning. Pitch on the way, over for a call strike, 3-1. Twelve hits for Stevens Point today. As Dossel digs in once again. Pitch on the way, rides high for ball 4. A bases loaded walk will force a run, and Point now leads 12-1. Herder scores on that bases loaded walk. Jankowski takes third base. Marshke to second, Dossel to first. We'll get another pinch hitter. Tony Rotchek will bat for Darren Grabsky. Tony Rotchek, the pinch hitter, replacing Grabsky. Grabsky had a single, a walk, and reached base and an error. Drove in 2 runs. And now Rochik stands in. Batting right-handed. Tough inning here for Mason Polga. Sets and delivers. In there for a call and strike one. Stevens Point now on top 12-1 as they bat. Top of the fifth. Bases remain loaded with 2 outs. 0-1 delivery. High hopper toward shortstop, picked up by Sadowska. He'll flip to second base in time for the force play to end the inning. Dossel forced at second base, that retires the side. Stevens Point in the fifth gets 4 more runs on 3 hits. 1 Marshfield error, 3 walks, and 3 men left on base. We played 4.5 innings, and our score now is Stevens Point 12, Marshfield 1. More baseball coming up in just a moment.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken has been voted best pizza in Marshfield 16 years in a row. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken is ready for your call now. Choose drunken chicken, BLT, Western, mac and cheese, sweet chili chicken, and more. Plus, Scotty's has broasted chicken, fish sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, 715-384-8118 and Scotty'sPizza.com.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Retirement is a balancing act because everyone's financial situation is unique. A reverse mortgage loan can transform your home's equity into accessible cash, whether it's to pay off your mortgage, cover bills, or fund your dreams.
The cash is there if we need it, and it just takes a little stress off of our lives.
You have something else to fall back on?
Call me, Josh Kilty, your local retirement mortgage specialist, for a free consultation to help bring financial stability to your life.
Stevens Point changing pitchers. Gavin Theo-Lees and Royce Lau, the new pitcher for Stevens Point. Theo went the first 4 innings today. Gave up 1 run, it was earned, on 5 hits. Did not walk a man, struck out 2 and threw 1 wild pitch. First Tiger batter here in the 5th is second baseman John Will. He singled and scored Marshfield's only run back in the 3rd inning. John Will digs in against Royce Lau. Lau pitching from the stretch. He is ready and now delivers. Breaking the ball across for a call and strike 1. Stevens Point leads it 12-1. Marshfield batting bottom half of the 5th here at Jack Hackman Field. No balls, 1 strike on John Will. Round ready, he fires once again. Fly ball to right field. Marshke retreating a bit, now gets there and makes the catch for out number 1. One down, the Marshfield batter now is shortstop Jacob Sadowska. Jacob has singled and bounced to short today. He's 1 for 2. Marshfield leadoff man this afternoon. Lown sets himself and throws a curveball in the outside corner for a call and strike 1. Wisconsin Valley Conference Baseball today on WOSQ, brought to us by Arts Body Shop on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. They feature quality body and framework, including custom work, at Arts Body Shop in Marshfield. 0-1 pitch on the way, curveball hit in the air to left field. Yankee drifts back towards the line, makes the catch for the second out. 2 men down in the Tiger 5th. Peyton Bugar scheduled to bat. He was the Marshfield starting pitcher. And he could be the DH, but they're going to bring him back.
From Marshfield, number 18, Lucas Halen.
And Lucas Halen will bat. Lucas Halen grabs a bat. He'll bat for in this spot. Batting right-handed. on stands ready. Now working from the stretch. Now delivers a curveball that breaks across for a call, strike one. Stevens playing on top, 12-1. Marshfield batting, bottom half of the fifth. Bases empty and 2 outs. 0-1 on Lucas Hanlon. Long gets ready once again and delivers a curveball hit towards second base. Picked up by Weinfurter, goes to first base in time to end the ball game. In the fifth for Marshfield, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. Our final score in 5 innings, Stevens Point 12, Marshfield 1. Back with a full recap on our postgame report in just a moment.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. Nasonville Dairy actually goes back to 1885. We are the oldest plant in Wood County. When our father brought us here in the early 1960s, we ran 7,500 pounds of milk a day. We now run 1.8 million pounds of milk a day. We buy dairy milk from 200 dairy farmers here in central Wisconsin, produce it, and ship it all over the world. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Freer, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflateri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. This has allowed us to go to a lot of different countries. Our furthest accounts are now in China, Japan, Canada, Saudi Arabia. We do ship to Mexico, as well as a number of other places throughout the world. This is what we call Cheese Making 101. We tried to walk you through the cheese plant today, and we're in hopes that you see our people, what they're doing, and the amount of work that goes into producing the products that we hope you enjoy. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Freer, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflateri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.